So, there seems to be a standard when it comes to monetizing video games. I'd like to discuss that standard and tell you guys what I feel to be the acceptable level when it comes to monetization. There are typically three ways developers make money off their games. One is the cost of the game, typically around $60. Two is the second is any DLC they add, like expansion packs, and the third is microtransactions. When looking at the gaming community, most of the time it seems acceptable to do two of those, but a lot of the time it's not acceptable. Let's compare some games that do the same strategy, but do it very completely. The first is Overwatch and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Overwatch cost $40 and had microtransactions. Star Wars Battlefront 2 originally cost $60 and had terrible loot boxes. Look at the success, EA. Overwatch, they both did the same type of monetization, but from the way it was executed, Overwatch appeased a lot more gamers, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 went down the toilet. Now, as much as Overwatch, as much as scientifically Overwatch probably didn't have the same probability to make as much money, it sold a lot more copies. Now we have EA practically begging us to play Battlefront 2. There's two more. These are completely different genres, but they have the same thing. The Witcher 3 and the first EA Star Wars Battlefront. Both cost money and have DLC. But EA stripped down so much of the game to make more DLC, whereas The Witcher 3 had a ton of content and added a ton more with their DLC. So, those are both, in my opinion, The Witcher 3 and Overwatch did it right. So, don't take this as me crapping on EA. That's not the point of this video. I want to discuss the strategy in monetizing your game. Microtransactions are very hard to pull off in a way that keeps gamers happy. This is the main reason why I'm shocked that Call of Duty is so successful, is it's one of the only franchises that triple dips in monetization in all the worst ways. The game costs $60, their DLC is just crappy expansion packs, and their microtransactions are game-changing items. In my opinion, microtransactions in a fully priced game are unacceptable. Whereas Overwatch I can let pass because the game is cheaper and you can avoid the microtransactions completely. DLC, in my opinion, should not be crappy map packs. It should add something. I'll bring you back to The Witcher 3, I forget the first one, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. They added so much content for your money for the same price as 4 new Call of Duty maps. What would you rather have? Gamers should make it heard, really, when they feel developers are trying too hard to make money and not hard enough to actually deliver a product. AAA developers seem to be going into a downward spiral when it came from, in the past they actually tried to make a good game. Now it feels like the AAA industry is just too far set on making money. Microtransactions used to only be a thing you saw on mobile games, and I wish it stayed that way. It seems like game developers think that $60 times a million is not enough. And don't quote me on that, not all games sell 1 million copies. But I'm really surprised, honestly, on how many quality, non-pay-to-win indie games you can get for one pay-to-win AAA game. This video got a little off topic, but I would like to ask developers, if you over-monetize your games, look at all of the extremely successful games that do it right. Something like Overwatch, which had cosmetic items. If Call of Duty went that way, I might actually not turn it away. Let's see how Black Ops 4 does. Black Ops 3 was my most recent Call of Duty game I actually liked. I checked out some of the older ones, but let's see if Black Ops 4 can do it right. I will always say that instead of trying to get one person to pay a ton of money, get a lot of players to buy your game and enjoy it. Don't try to double dip on one game or try to single dip on a bunch of other gamers, as I consider that the much more pro-consumer strategy.